So we're going to have a look at this match between Nigma and Alliance. We're going to pick out one game every day where there's a Division 1 game on that's relatively interesting and look at one player and analyze their gameplay, break down what they're doing, and usually picking out stuff that you probably missed from the broadcaster's point of view, or if you didn't even see the match in the first place. So this match we're going to look at limmp. This guy is rank 5 currently on the EU leaderboards, and previously about a year ago he was playing on Complexity in the NA region, and when he was living there he was actually rank 1 on the NA leaderboards. That's kind of to inform people on the background of this guy. So pretty much at the start of the game what the enemy end up doing is going aggressive with Alchemist and 5-manning, and this is an unpredictable thing. You can kind of predict it when you're playing in like parties or in a pro match for example, but generally they're just trying to catch the enemy off guard, and what Batrider ends up doing is he just comes to the fight and basically he's not committing too hard, and he's thinking that, hey, do we go and block the creeps or what's going on here, and they go and checking vision up on the high ground just to see where the enemy is, to see if they're actually camping on this rune and go and contest it. So pretty much the idea is that they end up catching Kuroki here and they just body block him and get a pretty straightforward kill. However, he did end up sacrificing blocking the creep wave, and against two ranged heroes in the mid lane we end up seeing that Puck gets a huge advantage here, because now Batrider has to last hit uphill, and we'll end up seeing that this actually takes a role in the game where, you know, first blood, the bonus goal was already given away, but throughout this laning stage we actually see in the first 5 minutes Batrider ends up losing this lane. If just looking at the numbers on the left hand side, Puck has 8 last hits and 2 denies, and Batrider currently only has 3. So that's like pretty awful in comparison to the first like 2-3 creep waves. So anyways, what I want to highlight here is notice the harass that Batrider takes from Puck's orb. Notice how he never ends up taking damage, and just like watch every time that Puck uses the orb, he's always like full HP and he's never actually taking much harass at all in any parts of the laning stage. So for people who are not aware of how this hero works, is that when you get sticky napalm onto the enemy, a number comes above their head, and each extra stack gives you extra right click damage. So for example on level 2 it gives 12 extra damage per stack, so that would be 24 damage with 2 stacks, and 3 stacks would give 36 damage, and so forth. So basically he's trying to build up as many stacks as possible, and when we go from 4 stacks or 5th stack it becomes very dangerous for Puck to stay in lane, and especially with the 5 or more stacks, that's where Batrider really wants to jump on you. So he bought a Clarity and tried to get in lane just to get some more mana, and he's trying to get the bounty rune. However, Puck is actually the power rune. Puck's pretty smart to go and jump on the rune and uses the orb to go to the other side. And the Nature's Prophet was, or who was it? It was someone, Pugna I think was actually, someone was up on top of this rune here a second ago, just camping it for him. Pugna was standing on this power rune, he was contesting it. So this is actually what position 4 players want to be doing, just as a highlight as well, that you want to be contesting the power runes when there's nothing really to be doing in your lane. Is that even though he didn't get the rune here, what his position 4 support ended up doing, or no, that's a position 5, teleports in, gives the bottle to the Shadow Shaman, and now he's building up a stack here onto Puck, and he ends up getting a 3rd stack, and he's bottling the entire time. During this time he pulls Puck back with the flame break, and now Puck is getting caught, and Puck has no orb. Once Puck uses her orb, she has no ability to escape anymore. He stakes around for another right click, and even though the support can teleport in, it's not good enough. And if we look at his health, he has about 300 health right now, but if he had taken like hit from 1 or 2 orbs, like 2 orbs extra in the laning stage, he probably could have died just from tower hits, and he wouldn't have been able to do that damage. So effectively the small wins that he was taking in the early parts of the laning stage, he built into something bigger later on. After doing that dive as well, he ends up going and taking this bounty rune, the bottom part, and also the Shadow Shaman is stacking at the same time. So we end up seeing Shadow Shaman is stacking the Ancients in this big camp, and Batrider goes and takes this bounty rune instead of the support going for it, which usually you end up seeing in most of your matches as position 4, position 5 support takes. However, he's contemplating whether he should go and try and last hit these Ancients right now. It's a little bit too early because he's only level 5, and here the IO is out of position, And they end up getting a pretty straightforward kill here, knocks him back with the flame break, and pretty much just right clicks down with the shackles so the shaman can get in range. Now Shadow Shaman also has rushed the Boots of Speed, which is genuinely a decent build sometimes, because all these stat items don't really come out to be that useful other than just regen on this hero. So now coming up to 6 minutes here, we end up having Batrider's focus here is now to go for the power room. We see that he uses a bottle charge here, and he's actually just pushing the creep wave as fast as he can. And Puck is actually trying to push the wave as well, but Batrider's not letting him. And we end up seeing here at 6 minute, Bat goes up and checks his power rune and then turns around. At this point, Puck can actually see that Batrider did check the power rune and didn't get it. So Puck actually goes bottom, but the Shadow Shaman is one step ahead. He's actually contesting this power rune as well. And Batrider ends up getting the DD rune and also gets a kill on Puck. A great play actually there by the support on Shadow Shaman, but this is also what we saw the Pugna do on the previous power room. So we'll also notice here he just put down a sentry ward here just to make sure that the enemy doesn't have an observer ward at this location. He also has his own observer ward at this point. And we noticed that at the start of this laning stage there wasn't any observer wards contesting the mid lane. And what he does here is when he's at this far off position, the enemy, even if they're standing at the top of the cliff at the enemy side, they can't see him placing down this ward, especially when it's nighttime. So pretty much their vision will not see, it'll only see over to like it won't see up these stairs unless Puck is there. So he places down his own observer ward when he teleports in, and yellow ends up pinging it. So he actually saw that bounty, that like ward that Puck placed down. So he's a step ahead there, and he actually sees all the stuff like a little bit faster than what the Puck does. Now we also see that he ends up stacking here, and he just farms both of these, and he also throws a flame break over this camp and stacks 3 camps all at once. This is very fast farming, and this is where he ends up catching back up with last hits, where he previously only had 26 last hits, and in this, what, like 60 seconds, how much is he gonna get? He has here 60 seconds, he went from 26 to 46, so 20 last hits in 1 minute. Insane. And now he has more last hits here. So pretty much like you have this crazy farming that can go on. He's waiting for his next stuff to go and pretty much farm this again. So this is incredibly fast. Now meanwhile all this is happening, Timbersaw is on mid lane, or actually I think they swap out. So one of the supports anyway go mid, or someone goes mid at the same time that this is happening. This is the general strategy that you want to be doing. And meanwhile Batrider's just, you know, finishing off the creeps, and he ends up buying a Boots of Travel. That's his first go-to item. Now what it starts to be interesting, he walks back to base here, and while he does this he's healing up with bottle, and he's planning to go bottom, right? So Troll Warlord is the enemy carry. This is a hero that actually has a pretty hard time against the Batrider. Bat has a big advantage. So he ends up using his ult here, and basically the stun duration is one after another. They're chaining them pretty much so that the troll can't get off his ultimate and save himself. So a pretty straightforward kill there. However, what's quite interesting about this, if we go back, oh my god, my ears, the IO was level 5, he was almost level 6. So if this guy had not got the Boots of Travel and finished the jungling as fast as he was doing, the IO would have been level 6 and potentially been able to save this Troll Warlord at this early point in the game. Especially once you hit that 10-minute mark, a lot of supports will end up getting a Tome of Knowledge, get level 6 pretty easy. So this is something that you do want to be watching out for, or like this is like not necessarily watching out for, but this is one of the big advantages of hitting level 6 and or like hitting your ultimate plus a lot of levels, level 9. Before 10 minutes, is that you can exploit the players who are not even level 6 yet. So the enemy ends up going and playing aggressive, pushing in onto mid lane, and Bat, instead of responding to it and his team are not ready to fight, he basically goes and farms these camps here while he's at it, because there's not really much you can do about mid lane, and they probably just try and jump on him with Puck's Dream Call and get a kill. Now he is trying to respond here to the Ray King, who's been gone on top with the IO relocate. However, that kind of just disconnects there. Now, basically there's fights happening at different points in the map at the same time. And this is where Boots of Travel actually comes in amazingly. That not only because the move speed of walking back and forth is much faster, but also the fact that you can get the teleport. Now, a pretty nice cheeky little play there to pull the Troll Warlord up onto the cliff. And also Io gets caught as well. This is really bad for the momentum on the enemy team. And this is actually where they start to like pull further ahead. And particularly Bat is pulling ahead. He's now at 6.8k net worth. And this Alchemist is now getting caught. And Batrider has very fast movement speed, very good flame break. And ends up actually just catching the Alchemist through simple right clicks. And he's also his fire flame thing. Firefly. Okay, so this is pretty impressive that he's effectively killed 3 heroes in the space of a few seconds. But in 3 lanes at the time, he went and defended Wraith King. He went and killed 2 heroes on mid lane and then went bottom and killed Alchemist. So this is like super fast, like snowballing, and he's exploiting his Boots of Travel so well. And often when people pick up Boots of Travel, they may not exploit this as well, and the execution is super important. And it's very obvious that even just the way that he farms the creep camps, this is something that they've practiced before. So now they're going for a smoke play into the enemy. The game is pretty much the enemy hasn't really been showing on the map that much, and they're going to go play aggressive here, trying to find the enemy where they are. Like, are they jungling? They have an Alchemist on the enemy team. He probably farming in the jungle, AFK farming. So they end up catching the Troll Warlord. He actually uses the flame break in between the middle of Io and Troll, just so that he separates the 2 of them and potentially breaks the link between them. Now he ends up BKBing here and going up the cliff, and actually the Troll Warlord couldn't end up seeing the Bat, and pretty much the Timbersaw tanks all of this as well, and Io gets caught afterwards because he is... Okay, Io just about gets away there. So here we have a fight going on. Batrider just joins in. It's not really like an amazing initiation or anything, but they just end up finding kills pretty straightforward. Like, they're just a lot stronger at this point in the game. Like, look at this, Puck is only level 13, Batrider is level 18. This is a big compelling difference between the laning stage. And it really just shows you how, like, lasting in the laning stage is not that important if you play this hero that can come back through the jungle. And even just like outskilling the other player and getting a kill on the lane plays a huge role. And it's not always just about like how many last hits can you get in the lane. Now you also see that his item build, he has decided to go, he went Octarine Core, but building the Octarine Core now has a different build. It goes Aether Lens, I'm pretty sure, and it builds into the Octarine Core. The advantage of this build, which is actually pretty smart, is that the Aether Lens ends up giving you a bunch of mana regen, which allows you to play faster. It allows you to also have a further cast range, which is really good for hitting a lasso because you're not building a blink dagger, but also you're sticking napalm, it's easier to get those stacks out. And on top of that, if you use Flame Break, as you see he's using Flame Break really effectively this match, you can also place those a little bit better. But the big thing is that the cooldown with the Octarine Core, the 25%, this allows you to spam Sticky Napalm more times, and it makes it much easier to get those stacks up at a very quick point, so your right click start doing a lot of damage from an early point in the game. And once enemies BKBs run out later on, this is a very effective spell, as even once they commit to a fight they can't turn around and go the other way. So the Sticky Napalm is super overpowered once you have no way to dispel it anymore. So they end up taking Roshan here, and this is their idea to go high ground. And also he just goes back here, he picks up from his courier a blink. Now what's interesting about this is with the Octarine Core you also get the extra cast range, which was there from the Aether Lens previously with the new item recipe. So pretty much now his blink dagger is even further than what it used to be before, and this allows him the opportunity to stand even further back. Now he does have a smoke here, and he's looking to go on the Alchemist. You see this ping that he's doing over here in the mid lane, and this is actually a position that he can reach with the Aether Lens blink plus the Aether Lens of Flaming Lasso, but he ends up instead going onto this Pugna, pretty much getting a pretty straightforward kill here, and this forces 2 of the enemy to have to instantly buy back. Now at the same time, what's happening up on top lane is that the Nature's Prophet is pushing here, and the strategy is basically to almost rat the enemy and force them to have to respond to two different lanes that are being pushed at the same time. And meanwhile, they're now attacking the tier 4s. There's a lot going on. So the Alchemist ends up using his ultimate just here at this point, and this makes it pretty hard for the enemy team really to do anything at the pretty much last fight once Alchemist runs out of his ult, because Alch is kind of like the tank that stands in front of the lane, but Batrider is literally just standing behind the Wraith King, almost like a support type positioning, and pretty much is just waiting for someone to go either on to the Wraith King or to go on to the Timbersaw. So Timbersaw ends up being the one that get onto, initiated, and pretty much the Bat is waiting for Miracle, who's on the Troll Warlord, to end up having his BKB down. This way then the Batrider, perfectly timing now, has his Flaming Lasso just off cooldown, and now he can use it and separate the Troll away from his IO, and this pretty much means that Troll has to click his ulti here. He's chasing super far ahead here, and also the Troll was Yule's just at that point, so it doesn't bring him back with the IO's relocate. So pretty much Troll ended up couldn't be saved, and now they have no buyback on most of their heroes, and this is GG. So hopefully you enjoyed this analysis. If you want to see more of this, please subscribe, and there'll be more of this coming.